Welcome everyone to a developer tooling community meeting. Excited you all are here. If you're new to this, we are going to do an update, then we're going to do an AMA. At any time, if you have questions for us, feedback, anything like that, go ahead and drop it. There's a little Q&A button at the bottom that you can ask us questions, or feel free also to post in the chat, and I will try to monitor both, and we will get to those questions as they come up. With that, I'll hand it off to David and Jane to do a little bit of intros.
Hey everyone, I'm Jane. I'm the product manager at Developer Tools and also working on some of the wallet stuff. So this call, and also David, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm the engineering manager for Developer Tools and also some of the wallet stuff. I'm never quite sure what parts.
Yeah, so we got a lot going on this call, so hopefully we'll get through all of it. We also want to show some of the stuff the tools team is building for Pagoda Console. So we're literally working on all the tools, the wallets, and console in many different places. All right, so let me try to share my screen. Let's see if that works. All right. Perfect. You can see it. All right, perfect. Yep. So today's agenda is we're going to talk about the wallet selector. And then David's going to talk about the JavaScript SDK and ABI. And then we'll switch on to the cool things that we're building in the Pagoda Console, including the deploy and the develop pipeline. So without further ado, let's get started. So just to reiterate on the tools team vision, we're here to deliver intuitive, productive, and reliable tools that's needed for your Web3 developments. So what we're building is one of the JavaScript stack. At the top layer is a wallet selector, which allows you to integrate your DApp to a number of different wallets just using a single point of integration, a single library. So version 7.2 was released on November 7th. So we want to congrats to the community wallets, Well Done, Opto, and Neath that have been added to the wallet selectors. So check them out. And if you want to add support for them in your DApp, they're definitely all great to have. I think Neath is also really interesting because it allows you to have a Ethereum account and create an account on Near, all behind the scene. And some additional just housekeeping items here, including improvement docs, dependencies, and like design improvements. So what are we building in upcoming? So first, what's definitely going to come out in the next release is a dynamic ordering of the wallets based on usage. So as you can see today, there's a lot of different wallets for the users to choose from when they pop up wallet selector, which, could be, a lot of choices. Now, let's say the user has selected a specific wallet, my Near wallet, or, Ledger, for example. The next time they're coming back to the DApp and open up wallet selector, we'd like to show them the ability, like that specific wallet that they have logged in last time at the top. So we're introducing this ability for you to enable an optimized wallet order. It's just really just a simple Boolean that you can use when you set up wallet selector. Just enable that to be true. So we'll automatically order the wallets based on for the specific user based on when the wallet that's last used. Additionally, what's really cool is we're also detecting the wallets that are installed in a specific browser. So like, let's say this user has a sender like already in their browser, right? Then we know they're a sender user. So actually that gets also bumped to the top based on what the user is choosing, like what they have installed. So it just makes this list more digestible for the end user. You don't really need to do anything. The logic's all written. We just show the user the wallet that they've used last at the top, as well as what's already installed, and we can detect in their browser extensions. So that's coming out. Highly suggest that you turn this on.
Quick question on that. So that's based on just the DApp itself. It's not like it's going to rank these wallets based on overall community use. It's how often individuals are coming to your site and choosing this wallet. It'll move it up.
Exactly.
In the DApp. Okay. And is that per user or is that for your DApp? Like it's
for a specific DApp.
Okay, for the specific
DApp. For the specific user.
Oh, and also for the specific user.
Exactly. This data is actually stored in local storage, so you probably need to use the same browser.
I see. cool. Another question that just popped up, which and that's kind of on the first slide that you were talking about of the individuals that got added to Wallet Selector. The question just is like, what are the requirements, business, tech, etc., from Pagoda to be included in this Wallet Selector?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So there is a product criteria and a security criteria there in the contributing.md on the Wallet Selector. So like the product criteria is we basically released 2 NEPs when describe the interface for inject wallets, other for bridge wallets. You must follow that specific interface that was actually voted on, approved in a previous wallet standards meeting. So you need to like basically make sure that your wallet follows the specific interface. And then for the security criteria, that's published by our security team. So it has very detailed requirements on what you need to do, and eventually you need to publish a like a self-declared statement of your security either on your GitHub repo or your website. And then you contribute a PR, our team works with you. It's a little bit like a couple back and forth, and then your PR is now merged into Wallet Selector and you become one of the wallets supported in Wallet Selector.
Awesome. I just found that that link to the contributing markdown, and I'm dropping it in chat for everyone right here. Cool. Last question is, so as long as you're using the same browser, this is going back to the wallet.
Optimized wallet order.
Yeah, the optimized wallet order. There you go. So as long as you're using the same browser and machine, it'll recommend a wallet for you.
It will not recommend a wallet for you. It's a wallet that you've used in the past. So the first time you see the screen, it's not going to recommend anything to you. If you logged into a specific wallet on that DApp's contacts, it remembers where you logged in. So next time when you come over here at that DApp, it bumps that to the top. Gotcha. So we don't do recommendations.
Cool. Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Sure thing.
I believe that wraps up the questions. Yeah, keep them coming. Yeah, you can.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so what else is next? So, Wallet Selector is a really strategic library because it's sort of like a single point integration for the developers, but also it's sort of when a user is interacting with their DApp, they're going to interact with this interface first, pretty much. So in Pagoda and in the ecosystem, we've been talking a lot about Web2 onboarding, how we can do it. I think that's, also mentioned like a lot of users use centralized app because the ease of use and, something a lot of times in Web3, the user experience is still quite clunky. So we've been doing a lot of thinking on that. So we want to drive adoptions of Near by developers and make it super easy for DApp developers to provide user with a great interface. So now if we think about Web2 users, they are not really familiar with the concept of keys, accounts. They don't really know like the difference between accounts, wallets. It's a lot to learn. If they want to interact with DApp, what they are familiar with is social logins. Like when they log in to like Zoom, for example, you can use a social login, like click your Gmail. So that is something that they have a mental model for. It's also what we want to bring to the users in the future, so they don't have to remember like accounts, keys, etc. It's just a social login and it works. It's much more analog to what they have in the Web2 world. So on the protocol side, there's a NEP that's published by Ilya about meta transactions, which is with the end goal of making it really simple for users to onboard. So the use case there is like a user who can participate in a DApp that does X to earn. They will be creating an account, like an actual account on chain, with the ability to perform certain actions and earn Near, and slowly that account has enough money to pay for gas. But in the beginning, you would have an account that just get you started. Right now, the issue there is, you create an account, you have no Near, you're kind of in a chicken egg situation. So I think with the meta transactions launch, which should either be like end of Q4, early year, and our social logging, it makes so easy for Web2 users to be able to use an existing mental model to log in to a DApp and just start using the DApp without thinking about where they need to get their first Near to get started. So we try to make this onboarding first-time user experience so smooth. So what does that mean for wallet selector? So wallet selector needs to support Web2 logins, right? So this is a early design of what we're thinking. So I actually want to show the demo for what this looks like. So let me switch my screen. I guess I need to reshare to switch my screen, right? Okay. Let's see.
A quick question was, will the social logins utilize the new meta transaction standard?
Yeah, ideally, for sure. We may launch before that is launched, in which case we'll support Selector. Okay, so can you see my screen? I apologize.
Yep.
My apologies.
Yep.
Okay.
No, looks good to me.
Okay, so this is a Figma drawing. So when you come to Wallet Selector, we're going to show you the ability to log in with social. And then when you click login social, we'll show a set of wallets that support the social login here, right? So just assume these wallets don't really support social login at this point, but when they do, they'll be shown on this list. And when you choose one, we essentially let you sign in and create an account in that wallet, and we take you to this stage where you can like log in with social email, for example. But actually, we hope to support a bunch more login options. So all the Web2 social logins that you can imagine. So that is the basic concept of it. Now, going back to what we were talking about earlier, is the need for wallets to integrate the Web2 onboarding into their wallet code. So we've done a lot of design discussion, tech design discussions around this, and the suggestion from our tech lead is use the Web3 auth SDK. So the wallets would really own the entire experience. You can use the Web3 SDK using their hosted solution, or you can host your own solutions and effectively just be able to use like an OAuth 2.0 to allow the user to log in. And then the user has the experience that's super intuitive. So, I think the Web3 auth, we're going to actually have another discussion with this next week with specific wallet builders in the wallet builder group call, but you can check out the docs. So if you're a wallet builder and you would actually like to participate in Web2 onboarding, which I think is a really huge opportunity for you to gain users, as with the release of meta transaction, I highly encourage you to look into Web3 auth integrations and build a proof of concept. We can work with you to make sure that this gets launched, the PR is getting merged, and eventually you can participate in this Web2 onboarding. So really excited to see what you guys can build. All right. I see a question in chat. Josh, should I go asking this question? Like,
do you want to talk about this now, or do you want to talk about this at the end?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about it in the end.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll get to that question at the end when it's ask me anything time.
All right, awesome. So I think one more features to talk about for the, I think I covered most of the slides. So, if you're a wallet builder, now it's an opportunity to drive adoption to your wallet. And the tremendous opportunity that's coming up in addition to wallet transition is, join us to onboard Web2 users. All right. So the next thing that we're releasing on Wallet Selector is localization. So Wallet Selector has came a long way from a baby model with just 2 wallets to a number of different wallets. So now it's time to get into localization. We have now supported Spanish translation. So this is live. So based on your browser's language. So Chinese translation will be coming out in the next release. We're looking to add localization for other geographies as well. So if you can write a foreign language, please consider submit a PR to us. it's super easy. So check out the docs here in the wallet selector documentation on GitHub. So we much appreciate it.
I got two questions that are kind of in the on topic. One of them is, how long will a user be able to use a social account if they aren't paying for gas? Is it dependent on the dApp? And is there a possibility to drain the account using social logins?
It is probably going to be dependent on dApp. So I think the dApp is going to pay for that initially using like Relayer. So over time, the dApp does need to think about a switch over. There probably needs to be some sort of call to action, right, for the users. If the dApp is not giving user near as a reward or just a fungible token, there probably needs to be a call to action. It's like, trade your fungible tokens to near at a certain point for your account. So there's a switch over, I believe, where in the onboarding flow that the user needs to start getting their own near. Now, if the dApp is paying the user in near for whatever they're doing, then the account is just funded. It's paid. You have enough near to pay for the gas.
Cool. One of the questions about the login. If the idea is to make blockchain transparent for the user, why not simply show login with Google, login with Facebook, login with Near? Login with Near takes you to the wallet selector. Any Web2 platform uses a default wallet because Web2 users will not know which wallet to select, even the less what is a wallet. Oh,
do you understand this question?
I
think they're asking about login with Near, or could you clarify? Unless David, do you have a take on this question?
I think I understand this, man.
Okay.
So I think what he's asking is why not have basically you get sort of analysis paralysis because you have so many options of like wallets you can pick. Now, login with Near would require us to be sort of, if we're doing a similar way to the way Web3 Auth does, it would require us to be sort of custodial with keys. And that would put us in a position of power we'd rather not have. So the Web3 wallet is sort of a somewhat custodial solution. We don't want to be in the business of custody because custody is a hard business to be in. And login with Near is also, I think it would undermine the sort of plurality of the ecosystem if we had a sort of official Near way of logging in. Because what we want is developers to come in and make wallets and sort of login systems and all this kind of stuff that do a great job of it, and million flowers, and people do a much better job of it than us. And if we just have the Near one, people are just going to use our wallet, and they're not going to use any of the other fabulous wallets in the ecosystem. Would be my guess.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely like the same thing goes into our ethos and not like recommending a specific wallet, right? We don't want to play favors. We're just here to show you different wallets that the app developer decides, and we don't want to like say this is the right way to log into a specific wallet. So that's not wallet selectors go here.
Cool.
All right. Anything else? And if not,
one more. Are there plans for some sort of onboarding template for recommending onboarding flow for social logins for builders?
Yeah, we did talk about this. So like at a certain point, right, if a dApp is not rewarding user in Near, at some point they are going to run out of gas using meta transactions and like social logging. So there should be like a call to action or switch. That could be something that we could do in wallet selector to like help the builder to like trigger a specific state in which they can have the call to action. Say like, at this point, you need to like trade for Near, or you need to buy Near using one of those onboarding ramps. So that's something that's considered. It's like probably more down the line when this gets adoption.
Cool, thanks.
Okay. Let's move to, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. So let's move to the NEP 413. So this is something that we actually already published on the GitHub. It's verifyOwner. I have been mentioning this in previous calls, and now we're in a pretty good state, I would say. So we really want you guys to comment on this NEP before it goes through this formal NEP review and voting process. So just to remind you what this is, it is basically a method called verifyOwner that use the full access key to sign a message to verify that you have the account ownership. So specifically, like the message is signed off chain. It's including, it just shows it's a string, it's not a valid transaction. We don't want you to accidentally sign a transaction and publish on chain. It's always signed with a full access key. And the signature should be really easy to verify. So I don't have too much to add because this is going to be discussed really thoroughly at the wallet standard group and EP call in the next call that's upcoming. But there's a lot of comments. And so if you're building this, if you're building a wallet, or if you care about the interface to a wallet, you should definitely comment on this on GitHub. There's something else I want to say about this. Right, and so if you're a wallet builder, once this NEP goes through the voting process, it becomes formalized interface, then it is asked that you also support this in your wallet. So you can have a verifyOwner method. And by the way, I think it's already implemented in the wallet selector ahead of NEP. So yeah. All right, so now I just hand over to David so he can talk about the JavaScript SDK API.
Yeah, so we've been getting a lot of questions about the API, specifically why it's not sort of being pushed out outside of the console context right now. And from our perspective, the API, sort of individual API libraries are not the most useful thing in the world. They're only really useful when they're sort of able to be used across the whole Near ecosystem. And we're getting pretty close to the stage now where, so for example, a Rust contract, pulling a Rust contract, don't really need the API into the mix there. But when you start doing cross-language function calls, it becomes very important. And we're getting to a stage now where we sort of, we have a working, very alpha version of API generation for calling TypeScript smart contracts. We also have that same API generation working for any JavaScript smart contract that uses JS docs, so anything using the JS SDK. We also can do type-safe contract calls from TypeScript, and that's either in Near API JS or we're working on getting working in Near API JS, and we have it currently working in the JS SDK. Once again, it's still maturing, but we need to sort of get out. That should be out in the next couple of weeks. And most importantly, we sort of have this. We're getting to the point where we have this sort of ability for any Near smart contract to use the API. We're really kind of hoping to start documenting everything in earnest, which means that sort of people can actually start using it, get widespread usage. And then once you get a lot of APIs out there, it'd be very easy to sort of peruse the kind of interfaces that any smart contract in here is using without necessarily fully understanding how it works, and sort of call it in a way that is, provably correct. So yeah, that's what's kind of happening in API right now.
So exciting. Cannot wait till we have APIs for all the contracts in the air. It would just open up such, I guess I want to say, smart contract Legos. All right, so this is super cool. Let's move on to what the tools team is going to build for Pagoda Console. So as you know, like the Pagoda Console team is building products for Pagoda Console, but the tools team is building a lot for that as well. So you may have heard of specific features that's rolled out Pagoda Console or will be rolled out. So now I just want to present this developer workflow in Pagoda Console. So, Pagoda Console, when you come to the page, you'll be able to see the Pagoda templates, which is just a gallery of a lot of different projects that you can view. So the projects would have a smart contract code, either written in JavaScript or Rust, and then on the front end, a front-end app that communicates with the specific smart contract. And so from there, you can actually fork this existing template. And once you fork this template, you're forking it to a public repo on your own GitHub. The forking actions, actually what it does is triggers a automatic deploy process of the front end and also the actual contract to testnet. So, and then you are now inside the Pagoda Console, and I will show the demo after this, after we go over the flow. And once you're in the console, you can see that this the testnet contract has been deployed and view the front end application. And here in the deploy, you can also then promote the DApp from a staging environment to the production environment, and a contract deployed from testnet to mainnet. So this is a work pipeline, deploy pipeline that you can reuse as you add and make changes to your smart contract. And finally, when we have deployed your contract, you can observe this contract using many of the existing features in console, including view the contract ABI, interact with this contract using the ABI form, view the contract's alerts, and even making into a shareable projects. So, and also in this workflow, when you fork the GitHub repo in the future, we give you the opportunity to load that code in an online editor so you can make changes to this code. So of all the work, the tools team is essentially managing the entire develop to deploy workflow. And that's what we're contributing to Pagoda Console. So specifically what this means is, so I guess I will go to my demo at the moment. Let's see if I can do that. All right. So we're going to fork this specific project. And then at this moment in the deploy flow, you're prompted to log into GitHub and authorize yourself. So we create a fork of the existing templates, and I can create a fork. As soon as the fork is created, that triggers a deploy on testnet. So now you're inside the deploy tab inside Pagoda Console. And here you can see that this contract is now deployed onto testnet. I will present you the time of the last commit and the commit hash. You can also open up this front-end DApp and view and interact with it. Now, if you're happy with this, you can also deploy the same contract and the DApp to the mainnet. So when you click deploy to mainnet, we actually ask you to log into the wallet selector, because as you know, for mainnet deploys, you will need to pay for the contract deploy. And we're playing with few features in the future where we can make this payment nil. So let's just say now you log into wallet and you're back. We deploy the contract onto the mainnet, and now you can see that this contract is now deployed, and the specific commit hash. So you can also interact, and there's other things you can do here, including, oh wow, I'm sorry. All right, so view ABI, which is, view the details of the contract, set up alerts, interact using the ABI forms. So let's say you want to interact using ABI forms. We take you here to this existing feature inside Pagoda Console. You can interact with the existing contract on testnet, on mainnet, and check out how the contract can work. So this is the deploy flow, which we're really exciting to be working and collaborating with the console team. And we hope it's something that you guys really like. Okay, questions? Should I take the questions?
Yeah, I got one. Are these smart contracts the one that are found in templates made by Pagoda? And if so, is there a guarantee that they've been audited by a security firm?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So these smart contracts are going to be made initially by Pagoda, and therefore those contracts will be audited. So yeah, we don't want to issue like contracts are not audited to the community and have those contracts copied like 100 times. That would not be the goal. So these are the contracts from which you can build and add functionalities to.
Cool. If the console allows build and deploy, can't that be used to match and verify deployed code versus the repo it was built from?
So this is a really cool part of this feature, which is, so what you'll be able to do if there's a public GitHub repository is you'll be able to say, okay, I'm calling this contract, what is the source code of that contract? And that really sort of opens up a whole array of possibilities for the console team. We can do stuff like, if you get a stack trace out, where did that stack trace come from? Like, what's the code? Rather than just getting some sort of blob of nonsense, you know exactly the hash, you know exactly the location. We have the ability to sort of do really sort of, now, is it going to be sort of perfect verification, you know, sort of decentralized deterministic bills? Initially, no. But you know that Pagoda is someone you vaguely trust, who sort of, so we'll have a degree of verification. So we'll start off saying, you know, this is probably the code. We'll hope to step that up and hope to step that up and hope to step that up. And then, you know, sort of make it easier for people to trust the code that runs on smart contracts.
Cool.
Well, all right. So now we did show you what we also want to do in the developer workflow. So right now we're working on the deploy pipeline, but once that's completed and released, the next thing the tools team is going to work on is on the develop. So like basically a really good segue from the previous question or two questions prior. So you can fork this specific template and you can add additional functionality. So like, let's say this is there's existing NFT contract and you want to add like a burn mechanism to it. So you can just fork this repo and we'll open up the code inside an online editor. You can add additional like a method to your smart contract. And essentially from there, you can build your contract. And then we take you through the same workflow that we saw earlier. I can share this again on Figma. In 1 second. Oh, a lot of Figma files. All right. So in the deploy flow, in the develop flow, you can open up this specific template in the online editor. And then from there, make your changes, for example, and then at this point, you can sign into GitHub, make your fork, deploy to testnet, logging to wallet selector, deploy to mainnet, and then be able to interact with your specific contract. So this flow is really, really early, and we're going to take this through user testing to make sure that the develop, you know, is something that addresses your need. But one thing that we do want to do at this point is to make it so easy to get started. And a lot of developers, when they first start working with Near, they need to set up a local environment, and that can be challenging for some. So this is just a really easy way for you to play around with the existing project with minimal, you know, friction, and be able to make some changes, deploy to testnet, and just say like how it works and if your changes, you know, is reflected. So yeah, like we're really excited of this. If you have feedbacks, you know, I am on Twitter and Telegram. Feel free to ping me. Happy to discuss.
About the integrated editor, someone's asking, is that going to be a complete Git pod environment?
Git pod environment. It will be a environment with its own backend where allow you to build the contract. But Git pod isn't well, it's one of the possibilities, I think.
Gotcha.
All right, so I think that actually covers everything that we want to talk about from the developer 2 team in the November call. So if you guys have any questions, happy to answer.
Cool. Well, yeah. Please drop your questions in the Q&A button if you have any. Ask away. I guess we could tackle this one question that was asked earlier that was a little off topic. But the question is, can you share any news about MyNear Wallet? Will it be replaced or moved back to wallet.near.org?
I don't believe MyNear Wallet is moving back to wallet.near.org. The wallet.near.org is definitely going to evolve into a portal where you can select all the different type of wallets. It's going to be a place where you can say, I want a wallet for NFT or wallet for DeFi, or if you're a newbie. It's basically something that's really needed for the community to help you guys decide what wallets to choose. So that's the plan for the wallet.near.org, and that's very much on track.
Cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, this is the awkward silence, but we'll wait for questions. And I can't handle silence, so I'll just sit here and hum or giggle as I do. But yeah, no, a lot of really cool, exciting things coming from the tooling team. Yeah, lots in development, lots of cool things coming down the pipe. Yeah, we'll give a minute. Or Jacob is here for the giggles. Nice, thanks. Thanks, Jacob. Appreciate that. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to see a lot of people attending this call. We've had actually more people in this tooling call than we've had in our other ones. So yeah, I'm super happy that y'all are showing up, asking good questions, being engaged. Yeah, absolutely would love to continue the conversation, and yeah, like where can people continue conversation, or where can people give feedback on dev tools team? It would be like the repository is the best way to provide that feedback, or like how would you like say the IDE, you're requesting kind of feedback for that doesn't really have a repo yet, so how could the community give their input or opinions on that?
Yeah, so I'm going to share my Telegram handle.
Okay.
So I think that would be a great way to do it. And also, if you're a developer, we're actually looking to speak to you. So we're looking to talk about the IDE with some developers. If you're interested, we'd love to spend an hour and just chat with all of you. So feel free to ping me on Telegram. Oh, sorry, that's Telegram. And Twitter is, so yeah.
Cool.
Find me on social media.
Awesome.
And if it's specifically an issue and feature enhancement with respect to a tool, please submit a GitHub issue. Cool.
Yeah, reach out there. Yeah, and also, as always, on Discord and the engineering channels, feel free to reach out to the DevRel team there. We have office hours every day, near.org/office-hours. Come talk to us in person if you have any feedback, if you're watching this video after the fact. And yeah, got some feedback on anything or any questions that you have, we can definitely get those to the team. Matthias, strange that Vlad isn't here. Vlad isn't on the tooling team anymore. I believe he is on the developer governance stuff. He's working with the developer community on governance issues, and yeah, he's on it. He's moving on to a different thing, but still heavily involved in the ecosystem for sure. Love for all. He's great. Cool. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in. So unless anybody has a last minute question that they want to ask, yeah, thanks again, Jane and David for joining. Thanks everyone in the chat for coming in and attending. And yeah, we'll see you in the interwebs.
Thanks everyone. See you the next one.
All right. Bye.